and good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everyone who is participating in the panel and as well as watching this panel. Welcome to the third annual Sister Cities Conference presented by Global Cleveland and the Cleveland Public Library. This event is a celebration of the strong partnerships Cleveland has created with her 23 sister cities and a roadmap for future collaboration. Global Cleveland understands that the key to strengthening our region is welcoming our world, and we are so grateful to be joined by international experts today to speak about urban sustainability and beekeeping efforts. My name is Supriya Tamang, and I am Global Research Associate at Global Cleveland, and I'm excited to welcome you to this panel discussion. Before we begin, thank you to our sponsors for supporting this event. Our president is very excited and giving thumbs up in the background. The sponsors of our 2021 Sister Cities Conference are Swage Lock, Medical Mutual, Platform Brewery, Irish, The Links Inc., Corner 65, Us Together, 12 Literary Arts. In addition to celebrate the 10th anniversary of Global Cleveland, they have partnered with Italian Tours by Diana to send two lucky travelers to Cleveland's sister city, Vicenza, Italy. This 8-day Italian journey will introduce you to Vicenza, Venice, Florence, Rome, and beautiful destinations in between. You can sign up to win that on our website, www.globalcleveland.org. Lastly, mark your calendars for our 2022 Sister Cities Conference to join us here in Cleveland for our hybrid event. The conference will be in person as well as streamed virtually the week of October 17th, 2022. We are already thinking for our future. I will now introduce our moderator, the amazing Morgan Taggart. Morgan is the director of the FAIR project, which stands for Food Access Raises Everyone. She guides program design and implementation, provides technical assistance to local food access projects, and manages partnerships with local stakeholders. Morgan is also the director for Healthy Food Access Initiatives at the Prevention Research Center for Healthy Neighborhoods at Case Western Reserve University. Thank you so much for serving as our moderator. Morgan.
Thank you so much, Supriya. It's good to be with everyone this morning. I'm going to introduce our panel, and then we're going to jump into some questions. As Supriya stated, this discussion will center around the global importance of pollinators in urban agriculture. We're grateful for this amazing panel that we have this morning. We have Professor Adebayo Omoloye from Ibadan in Nigeria. We have Mrs. Maruška Markovic from Ljubljana, Slovenia. We've got Mr. Gorazd Trunosevec, close, also from Ljubljana, okay. And then we've got Trent Balda from Cleveland. I'm going to introduce each of these panel members and share a little bit about their backgrounds, just so you know what an esteemed group we've got here today. Professor Adebayo Omoloye is a professor of agricultural entomology and the former head of the Department of Crop Protection and Environmental Biology at University of Ibadan. His landmark research findings include the first report of entrained circadian rhythm and monogeny, an African rice gall midge. He is the chairman coordinator of the University of Ibadan Honey Production and the Beekeeping Resources Management Project, and the producer of the branded UI Honey, as well as the termite and other pest control unit for the university. Welcome.
Thank you very much.
Great to have you
with us.
Very
much. Thank you.
From Slovenia, we have Mrs. Maruška Markovic, who has dedicated more than 20 years of her work to rural development in the city of Ljubljana. Her main preoccupation is development of foods, self-sufficiency programs, and recently also urban beekeeping. She is building everything from the bottom to the top, and she believes in a participatory approach. Welcome. Glad to have you with us this morning.
Thank you for having me.
And also from Slovenia, we've got Mr. Gorazd. Can you say your last name for me?
Gorazd
Trušnovic, thank you. From Ljubljana, has no rational explanation why he has moved from the fields of architecture and cinema to beekeeping. 10 years ago, it was apparently a love at first sight. He has started beekeeping with 2 beehives on the balcony of his apartment in Lubania and has developed a rent-a-hive professional service for the urban area shortly thereafter. Nowadays, he keeps 50 bee colonies in 15 locations within the city perimeter and is still interested in everything connected to urban beekeeping. Welcome.
Thank you.
And last but not least, we have our hometown hero here in Cleveland, Trent Baldoff. Welcome. He's from Cleveland. He's a 7th generation farmer, 5th generation teacher, and a 1st generation beekeeper. He has a focus of developing urban communities through agriculture and a passion for helping people become better versions of themselves. Wow. We are going to have an amazing discussion this morning. Glad to have you all with us. So to get us started, I wonder if, Gorads, if you could present some of the activities of the Urban Beekeepers Association in Lubania and some of your work there.
Okay, we started approximately 10 years ago. This movement of urban beekeeping in Ljubljana started on a more wide level. And we are providing, we shortly thereafter found out that there is not sufficient knowledge about this specific situation within the more traditional, I would say, Slovenian beekeeping, because the city demands a bit different approach. You cannot have hundreds of hives on one spot because of interaction with inhabitants of the city. You have to think of the people first. And then we found out that this is not such a rare occurrence, that there are many urban beekeepers. And then we started to help each other. And I must say the municipality of Ljubljana was very inclined towards collaboration and giving us a support as well. And we've developed some ideas, and Marushka has developed a few initiatives of her own, and she will tell you about them together. But yeah, since we started from scratch, so to speak, there were just 3 of us in the beginning, and now we have more than 50 very active members, and we offer support to urban beekeepers. We are part of numerous educational programs. We educate about specifics, but I shall tell you maybe a bit later about what are those specifics.
Great, thank you. Trent, how would you kind of contrast what you're seeing in Cleveland in terms of urban beekeeping and how folks are networked here?
How would I describe the contrast?
Yeah, or just like describe a little bit more about urban beekeeping here in Cleveland, how many folks are engaged, what that network looks like, and share a little bit more about what's happening here on the ground in Cleveland.
Well, I can almost speak for the entire state of Ohio when I say that almost all beekeepers know each other. It's a very small world, and very much like our Slovenian friends, we are all here to help each other. Like, we are always providing each other with support, comparing situations or experiences, because if anybody has ever tried beekeeping, if you ask one beekeeper or 10 beekeepers 10 questions, you'll get 11 answers. You know, there's always different methods and ways to go about it. But honestly, what I've been most impressed with is that in Cleveland, at least, I can't say this for Toledo, I can't say this for some of the other cities that I work in, but in Cleveland, all people who have bees, almost 90% of the people who have bees in Cleveland are integrating their communities, organizations, their friends, their families, their local youth. It's never just their beehive. They always get other people involved in it. And that's what I really like about Cleveland. I've tried to do my best to incorporate that with my hives in Cleveland also. And I have personally seen and spoken to a couple hundred different kids from the Cleveland community. And I think that just goes back to the idea of, it's not just your bees. It's not just that person's bees. It's the communities. It's everybody's there to learn something. Everybody's there to benefit from those bees, whether it be eating some of the pollinated food, But honestly, I would say that that is the biggest thing that has stuck out to me about keeping bees in Cleveland is that every hive seems to be a community beehive.
Thank you. Yeah, that's it's really interesting how it seems like it's a conversation starter and a way to engage all different kinds of people in a community. And I'm sure it is. When someone stumbles upon a beehive in the city, they do a double take, and then I would imagine get pretty curious and want to learn more. So yeah, it's kind of interesting to think about how bees and people interact together in such smaller spaces as they do in cities. Adebayo, I wonder if you can share a little bit about kind of the state of beekeeping where you're at and kind of which community members are involved, what that looks like, and a little bit more about your project at the university. Oh, you're on mute. There we go. Excellent.
Yeah. Thank you very much. First, I want to appreciate you for this very important program, this conference, and the opportunity to make this presentation. Let me start by saying that as an academic, the very first interest is to train people dealing with the youth. In Nigeria, due to the global developments, a situation in which there is recession, jobs are not available, the challenge comes for us to be able to engage the youth. The youth have become restive, and because of this, and also women, then there is the growing interest in training and bringing people up. I just want to state that my interest, first as an entomologist, started when I attended the apiculture program at Shefaim in Israel. I was trained by Haim, and Haim is an international beekeeper that I respect so much, and then my interest grew. However, the species of bees that we have in Africa, Apis mellifera adansonia, is not like the Apis cerana, Apis syriaca, all those other species that we have elsewhere around the world. In other words, the African honeybees, they are very aggressive and very difficult, if possible, to tame. So it has become a very serious issue, and this is why I pick up the interest. So immediately upon return from Israel, I decided to float the course in beekeeping, and that course had endured today. And like I said, the primary objective is to engage the youth to be able to empower them. And we started. One is to develop a curriculum that will be so robust as to be able to equip the student, a 3-unit course that will be able to equip them up to the level of being able to stand on their own. The second is to be able to do some credit courses that we hand them at least the certificate. So with this as a background, we started, and I want to assure you that that project had taken us since 2011 in the University of Ibadan, and the university gave it its full support to the level that we were able to produce, at least to show that it is possible. We have, though not so many, about 240 hives. And the hives we use, we don't use the Langstroth type, we use the Kenyan top bars because of our terrain here. Okay, so with this, students, let me now tell you about what we've been doing. Just like Trent said, the community of beekeepers in Nigeria, since that awareness has started, the community has started to become so very much aware, and the interest already growing. And I want to state that the beekeeping project is not limited to those in the rural areas, even though the Nigerian economy is basically agrarian, and the bulk of the farmers are in the rural areas. So because of the wide expanse of land, the opportunity exists for them to be able to, practice well. So the opportunity is there for both women and the youth to be able to get empowered. Now, the University of Ibadan project, like I said, that was how it started. And there have been a lot of beautiful responses. Probably, let me tell you what led to the idea. We found that different kinds of people begin to claim that they produce honey. And we found that there are a lot of adulterated or not so good honey out there. So we decided that there should be a point where you can get quality honey. And I'm talking of real quality honey, which the university can vouch for. That was what actually led to the council of the university approving that project. And they did. So, who are our clients? The University Teaching Hospital, the University of Ibadan community, and people around have been receiving training and they have been buying this product. Gradually, between the time and now also, the Beekeepers Association had become very active. In fact, there have been about 3, 4, or 4 major conferences that have been held within the last 6, 7 years. And these had brought so many people to the awareness of the good, will I say, the advantages of beekeeping in Nigeria. I want to state that the environment in Nigeria is so good. Basically, it is tropical. And because of the tropical nature, the savanna ecosystem especially encourages good honey production. But what we are working towards now is a situation in which it is not just only harvesting in the wild, because the bulk of honey projects in Nigeria is going to the wild to harvest. And the quantity of this is not beekeeping. This is rather honey hunting, which is not good. So right now, we are encouraging the use of hive. The Langstroth hive, some are already doing it, but that one, because of the nature of the bees in Nigeria, that is not so common as the Kenyan turbers. So, succinctly, the project in Nigeria, that is the state as it is now, and it is gaining ground. Maybe I should stop at this point and attend to some other questions.
Thank you very much. That was, interesting to hear kind of the different situation, the climate, the honey harvesting, just kind of a different world there in Nigeria and some of the work that you're doing. But I also hear the similarities around training for youth and women to engage in beekeeping. We're going to get in our plane and zip north to Slovenia. And Maruška, I wonder if you could share a little bit more about the bee path. And kind of in Ljubljana, and a little bit more about kind of that practice, and then how it's kind of jumping to other cities and countries in the EU. So I'm going to turn it over to you to share a little bit more about your work and what's happening there.
Okay, thank you very much. We have a very strong tradition of agricultural or rural beekeeping in Ljubljana. But because of the urbanization, and as Gorazd already explained, it is the fact that the bees are really welcome in the city as well, because first they have a really nice condition to live in the city, and the city is, as you probably know, wears the title of Green Capital of Europe 2016, and this was the green story that we started to introduce in Ljubljana. So we saw the bees as a connecting point of two really important topics in the city. So how to get to food self-sufficiency, because of the pollinators, we really are depending with our food on that small creatures, and obtaining, of course, the biodiversity. but we wanted to present something else to the citizens as well as the community in general in the Slovenia, that that bees are not just about the beekeeping. It is about the awareness raising. It is about the knowledge. It is about the prosperity of the people in themselves. So we introduced also to this bee pet the idea of culture and heritage, and of course of different historical parts of the city. So we first thought of it like an actual pet from one point to another, where people could learn about the bees in the city. But we soon realized that it is a movement. As Trent said, it is actually people are really connected in Slovenia with bees. These are really important creatures for us. And also the citizens recognized this. And we took a different strategy in the city. So we were more into education. We were more into the presentation, promotion, and awareness raising. Of course, we got a lot of help and a lot of activities from the Urban Beekeeper Association or Society. We are really lucky that we have 5 associations, so around 300 beekeepers are in Ljubljana taking care of our bees, and slowly we are, embracing the idea that during the season we are our number of our citizens enlarges for approximately 18 million inhabitants, because we are counting all the bees. So this was the idea. So what we wanted to present in the bee pet was also the educational part. Professor Adebayo actually he presented the expert education for those that want to go to the beekeeping practice. But what we do is we introduce the idea of importance of pollinators and bees in general in the city and in every natural part. This is why we developed a special program called API Kindergarten, where we start with completely small children, introducing these small creatures to them, introducing the importance of the coexistence with nature. And this is how we are building the new society, as I said, because we are long-term runners, and we see that those that are now 5 years old, in 15 years they will be those that will embrace the bees in the city. Biodiversity was also one of the most important parts in our bee pet. So we started slowly to change the mind of the city. City started to plant the melliferous plants in the city. We had some activities during the year where we introduced the melliferous plants also to the citizens, and slowly they are putting them in their gardens, on their window shelves, and something like this. And what we did, and this is the latest step, is that we managed to persuade the municipality to take some parts of the green area from the frequent mowing system. So we have some parts that are mowed just 2 times per year, and we are trying to build up the biodiversity on that part, and also create the area where the wild pollinators will survive. The next part of our bee pet is also the touristical part, because we want to introduce the idea of bee pet and bees and honey in general to the tourists, and we are trying to create also some sort of selling point where people could get acquainted with honey, especially Ljubljana honey. We introduced also one sort of it's not a brand, but we said that the special standard could be created, and we call it now Ljubljana honey. And Ljubljana honey can be wildflower honey, or chestnut honey, or forest honey. These are all the pastures that we have in the city. So this is the idea, how the people are also can be educated through that. And many other things. Of course, we embraced also the 20th May as a World Bee Day, and we are having a lot of activities during that time. And in 2017, from the program called Urbact, it is a special program for European cities, we were recognized as a good practice, and we had an opportunity to spread this good practice to other cities. And from 2018 to 2021, we transferred that to 5 cities. First, Cesena in Italy, Amarante in Portugal, Nea Propontida in Greece, also Hegvidek, the 12th district of Budapest in Hungary, and city of Bydgoszcz in Poland. And we were following what the professor said, and Trent as well, and Gorazd as well. So we were following all the different ideas of the environment and of the type of the bees. So we have a very angry bees in Portugal. We have fantastic bees in Slovenia. So we have, and we also followed the environmental or geographic idea. So from north to south, from west to east. And what was really important also to not to give the opportunity also just for them, for those that are that already have developed the urban beekeeping, but we took in also the city of Bydgoszcz, where the beekeeping in the city was prohibited till the end of the 2018, and we managed in 2 years or 3 years actually, because of COVID, we prolonged the project. We managed to introduce the beekeeping in the city. We managed to increase the biodiversity in the city because of that program, and it was a great pleasure. We started with 20 people. Now we have approximately 300 people around those 5 cities that are building this story. And because this was a real success, we had an opportunity to prolong our story. So we are now introducing the idea to 4 new cities. We went to Bulgaria now, to Bansko, to Bergamo in Italy, and then to Sosnowiec in Poland, and to Osijek in Croatia. So now we are a community. And what we are trying to do is actually to build the bees-friendly cities. This is our idea. Now we are 10, and in the future we want to be more than 100. So, so please, you are all welcome to join the idea. Of course, we are always like this. We want to learn from others. This is really important. We soon realized that of course, we have a lot of knowledge. We have an idea, but others are somewhere so much far ahead. So it was a pleasure to exchange ideas.
Wow, that's an incredible amount of collaboration that you are doing within each community, but then also across community. Yeah. What have you learned in terms of engaging folks? It sounds like sometimes cities or communities or folks aren't sure about bringing beekeeping into urban spaces. And how do you encourage that kind of collaboration, Maruska, in all of these communities that you've been working with?
Oh, this was very fantastic experience. We had experience in Italy because everybody if somebody gets stung with from the bee, the beekeeper that is nearest can be sued. So this is the fear factor in Italy was incredible, but with this participatory approach, and also with these activities that we had, and with these promotional actions, and going softly from the wild pollinators to the honeybees, this was also a possibility for us to introduce the idea of beekeeping to the city. And the fact was that people actually understood how their municipalities work like. And in Nea Propontida in Greece, they said, okay, first we will start with history because everybody loves history. And then they created a museum of beekeeping. And then slowly with this museum, they started to introduce also the other topics about the beekeeping. And then at the end, on the city hall, now we have a beehive. So it is actually the beehive of the mayor. But at the beginning, it was just like, oh, no. We have a lot of hotels. Bees are going there to swim, not to swim, sorry, to drink. And this is going to happen. So it is, people will be in danger. And so what we did was we had a lot of meetings. We had a lot of presentations. We were actually doing 2 years. We were just walking around, presenting things, talking about the bees, and people actually started to embrace them, not to be afraid of them anymore. But of course, I always say that it takes time. It always takes time. Gorazd will actually he also has the experience of collecting bee swarms in Ljubljana. This is really some special, how to say, experience as well, because at the beginning people were really scared, but now because we introduced also the SOS line for swarm collection in cooperation with fire brigade, people are now calling in. We have a swarm, come collect it. They are not scared anymore so much. So yeah, the time, constant presence, different soft approaches, and yeah, this was our approach.
And kind of building off of that, I'm wondering if each of you could kind of talk about some of the challenges you face while using pollinators as a tool and honeybees as a tool for urban agriculture in each of your communities. What are some of those challenges? Anyone want to start, jump in? Trent, thank you. Go ahead.
You're welcome. So, one moment. So some of the challenges that I have faced when using pollinators as a tool in urban agriculture and sustainability is just the fear aspect, like Mariska was talking about. Just people know the bees sting. It doesn't matter what kind of bee, they're all the same to them, and they sting, and I don't want to be around them. So there's definitely a level of education, like preliminary education, that needs to be laid out for anybody who's thinking of even being around pollinators as a tool for urban sustainability. Kids don't like to get stung. I don't blame them. I don't like to get stung either. But fear is number one. And number two is just communicating with the community. Like, that box right there has 10,000 insects in it. Please leave it alone. Or that box right there has 10,000 insects. I'm having a presentation tomorrow. It would be awesome if you showed up. Giving them both of those points to consider, giving them their own adequate space too. But those have been the challenges: communication and fear. And the fear is absolved by communication, so it works out.
Hey, Trent, just a quick follow-up. What are some of like the settings for urban hives in Cleveland? Are people keeping them at homes, in parks, in gardens? And kind of what's the connection between urban beekeeping and maybe urban farming and urban agriculture and urban gardening? What does that look like here in Cleveland?
So in Cleveland, let's put it this way: where I was born, a very rural setting, but Cleveland, very urban. Okay. People in Cleveland have their hives in their backyard, no different than people in a rural setting. In my personal experience, though, I only put my beehives on urban farms. So it just really depends on the intent of the beekeeper. It depends on, my intention is education and environmentalism. Their intention is probably a side hobby and having some honey. Both are okay. But it just varies. It varies amongst the individuals. I will say that there's always some cohesiveness between beekeepers. Like, even if I'm only doing urban farms and they're just in their backyard, and I'm full-time beekeeping and they're just doing it as a hobby, there's always still a connection to be made between the two people, for sure.
Great, thank you, Trent. I'm going to pop it over to you, Gaurav, to kind of share,
Mhm.
a little bit more about that and from your perspective, both the challenges and kind of help us understand what that looks like where you are.
I must say that I can relate to a lot of stuff that Trent has talked about. But in Slovenia we have a bit different starting position, because beekeeping is a very strong part of a traditional lifestyle in the countryside in Slovenia, and urban beekeeping was something new. Even this phrase was something relatively new, although we know this movement is decades old in the other world metropoles and big cities. But in Ljubljana, we started from scratch, and what we faced was not so much a fear, although this is also a factor as well, yes, but a prejudice against this practice, because they thought that our honey will be poisonous with pesticides, with smoke and exhaust fumes and smoke. And that it will be poisonous, and that it will be black and unedible, and so on. And what we did was actually we constantly send our honey to analysis and to competitions and to tastings and so on. And we are trying to prove with our work that our honey is perfect in terms of ingredients, and that it's perfect in a sense of taste. And sometimes I have a feeling that we have to persuade each person alone. It's a lot of field work, and in this sense, I could also relate it to what Trent mentioned, is the community engagement. You know, in the cities like Ljubljana, especially, we will never be able to produce tons of honey. But what beekeeping means is more like a social responsibility. You can educate citizens through different programs and the schools and lectures that you are giving, and to engage neighbors and to persuade, because after years of experience, I can say that 1 out of 10 neighbors will be a problematic one. So you have to persuade this the 1/10 of population that you are not endangering your environment, but you are giving it's beneficial what you are doing. So and maybe the last there is this pollination factor and food production and food chains, because we all know that in the future 2/3 of world population will live in the cities. So the city and the urban farming is very important, and city engagement in finding to shorten the way of a food production, that will be also a very strong economic factor as well. And so these are our main missions. These are our main points that we are trying to relate to the public with. Beekeeping is maybe secondary to this mission.
And Adebayo, what would you say some of your challenges are with beekeeping in your environment, in your city where you are?
Thank you very much. Well, the challenges, I want to say, they are daunting. One, the very first challenge that we have is the species of bee that we use, that we rear. Like I told you earlier, they are very aggressive, and they are responsive to the temperatures around. Immediately there is a raise in temperature, they become very aggressive, and they are there. So that one is there. The second is that urban beekeeping is not so popular because of this challenge. If you have to raise bees within your compound, you have to be very careful. For example, where I have an apiary not too far away from my department here, but we ensure that we do all to protect people away from that site for public safety first. And you know, when you are doing that, especially when dealing with students have various ways of being very inquisitive. They want to find out. You have to be very sure you get a way of doing that. So that's one major challenge of being able to keep people away from disturbing these very aggressive species. The third is that there is a major challenge because the bulk of beekeeping in Nigeria is still in the wild. And because people use pesticides, there are various other practices outside. These had been affecting biodiversity. It's a major issue because though there is no official record to state that this is the decline of bees in Nigeria, but we are aware that the population, they are going down. And sometimes on the 25th of July this year, Nigeria, as a country, signed a memorandum to join the Promote Pollinators movement. Yes, that former joining of that shows that the nation is aware of the importance of these pollinators. I also want to add that use of pollinator per se, either in orchards to enhance, has not been very, very popular, but the potential is very high in Nigeria. Probably as a result of some of the things that I've highlighted, because of the wild and aggressive nature, because beekeeping now is just gaining ground. That it's not too long ago that we are now having so many people engaging in beekeeping within the urban setting. It has always been, we call it feather honey. You get them from the bush. But right now, there is deliberate effort at beekeeping, and that is the time. Probably another major challenge is the type of the type of beekeeping practice that we do. Like I said, the Langstroth type is the most popular, and we are aware that when you use that method, you get more honey, and then so many other beehive products. I'm sure you are aware that there are a lot of several hive products, the propolis, the beeswax, and so many other things that we can easily get. The market is seriously increasing. So Nigeria is really very, and that's why I like what Marushka, what she said about having people engaged. I'm going to adopt some of the methods that she has highlighted beautifully. Because when you engage cities, you engage people around, one, you are promoting beekeeping business, and you are also, in a way, helping the population, the country. So that's a very good one, which I think I will begin to adopt. So in essence, all I've said is that the challenge starts from both the biology of the bees that we have here, two, even the sociology. People are not ready to, because it seems bees, there is this apathy that is, the people so much fear the bee stings. There are also other aspects like the pollinator that I've said, probably because of the nature of the Nigerian agriculture. I told you it is still basically peasant. The deliberate use of pollinator is just coming up, and it remains a potential. We are just coming up in that. It is not so popular that you see somebody carrying, saying, I want to go and pollinate my orchard, this citrus orchard. Fortunately, we don't grow so much apples in Nigeria, but cocoa, these are the crops that can benefit from that. Cocoa, even kola nut, all these ones can benefit. Citrus, these ones can benefit from bee pollination. And we know that you can increase the productivity by up to 65%. That potential is there, and we are working towards that even in the university through our demonstration, apiary demonstration farms that we are doing. So we want to really encourage, especially, like I said, the youth, because these are, I will also try to see if there is a way we can adopt what Marushka said. Catch them very, very young. we are thinking of catching them when they are just at the university level. But Mariska is thinking of catching them even at 5. That's a very good one. And by the time they are 10 years after, they will have formed within them the passion of beekeeping. And so I think I love that. And I have penciled that one down. We will work towards that within my team. So the challenges are there, but there is hope. Like I've just told you, the hope that is rising is that there is more awareness that if you practice bee pollination, you can get more. 2, the nation is also aware that do less to destroy the bees and the other pollinators. By the time, because the nation has signed it, it becomes a law, and it becomes what they watch after. And then the consciousness is there that the nation is promoting the safety of biodiversity. So the other challenge that I said, which is being overcome, is the fact that more and more people are more interested, even as a source of income. And I call it entomopreneurship. Entomopreneurship, that is using insects as a source of livelihood to be able to do that. And that one's come under what I also call in my inaugural lecture, entomosophia. Entomosophia is all about the wisdom of using insects and insect products for mankind, for humankind, for survival. So the challenges are there, but like I said, they appear daunting, but there are hopes, and then we have been making some efforts to clear them. I don't know if I've made some points.
I think you've made some excellent points. Yeah, and it seems like you are undaunted by those challenges, Adebayo. You will take them on, yeah, and figure out ways to learn from others and address them. Kind of related to this education, Marushka, I'm going to pose a question to you that popped up in the chat from Alenka. She says, welcome beekeepers and supporters from Lubania, Cleveland, Nigeria, and the world. In November, we will celebrate another honey breakfast for kids and youth in Cleveland and Parma to educate them on the connection and impact of pollinators on food production and environment. Can the guests address this aspect and their praxis in this connection? So tell us a little bit more about educating youth and using beekeeping to start a conversation around food production and sustainability and biodiversity, and what that actually looks like when you are 5 years old. Tell us a little bit more about your programs.
Yeah, this is really, Gorazd is also really involved in this November, I think, celebrating another honey breakfast because all the beekeepers in Ljubljana make effort and always bring the honey to the schools and kindergartens so that children can have this breakfast. The fact is that when this started, it was just an idea how to introduce honey back to the consumption, so that children would start with honey and also other things that are important. So the milk, the butter, the bread, and apples. So this is the Slovenian traditional or honey breakfast. And with years, other topics started to occur as well, because it was important for children not to just eat breakfast once a year, but also to have an idea why is this important. So also the professors or the teachers started to introduce the importance of the pollinators. But what we did with API kindergarten is that we introduced everything to them. So we introduced the social life, we introduced the importance of how they can learn from their communities, so they have the division of work as the people actually have the same division of work as bees have. We have different materials that they produce from honey to wax to everything. So children are first losing the fear, and second, understanding that the pollinators are really important for the food they are eating, and third, they are also developing the attitude towards the all living creatures. This is the important part, that it is happening here with the Epic Kindergarten. But of course, this is everything I can say that when we started with this honey breakfast, we started on the top. But now a lot of communities are working on the bottom level as well. So because they are building this understanding between the why do we use the honey, and how is it produced, and why do we need all these small creatures and everything. So this is the thing. Now we are coming closer. I don't know if Boras could, I don't know, perhaps has a different idea, but yeah, this I think that honey breakfast should be every day. Our mayor is so sweet. He always says, I always start my day with honey. So this is something, but I think that also this should be something that should be in schools all the time. Yeah, definitely. I think that children now are understanding better and better that these two things are connected. Not just, oh yeah, now it's November, we will have a breakfast, but yeah, this is why we have this, all those things, yeah. Goras, could you please just do some things, or add some things, yeah.
Yeah, well, for me, you pointed out very nicely that bees are, for me, maybe just a starting point. You can, I try to make people more sensitive to their environment, and for the life cycle, for the nature, to the awareness of their environment. I mean, the cities are not like concrete deserts, as there is the general image, but the cities can be very green environments. We even biologically even more diverse than some monocultural agricultural area in the countryside, you know. And it's very important, and it's to make people more sensitive to their environment, because then they become aware of the importance of living in a clean environment and living sustainably. And these are, I think, challenges for the 21st century, because we are facing climate change, which will affect us all. And being more aware about the environment you live in makes you maybe in a second hand also more sensitive to the people that you are sharing your space with and the cities with. And therefore, we as an urban association have developed also a program of working with imprisoned persons in Ljubljana, and we put 4 beehives there. And you know, the starting point, I said to them, if you are able to produce food of your own, it's like you would print money of your own. So, and they were very they were very enthusiastic about it. And after 1 year, one of the imprisoned person who got released in the meantime started keeping bees on her own. And I think this is a way of giving back to the environment that you are living in. I mean, for me, keeping the bees is a way of behaving socially responsible. And this is all also, I mean, yeah, this is also a point of this healthy breakfast with honey and like traditional breakfast, but it can lead to some to some major changes. I deeply believe so.
Yeah, it seems like it's an opportunity to make so many different kinds of connections, as you're talking about too. Well, we are almost at time. Before we say goodbye and go, I wondered if each of you could share one piece of advice for people who want to learn more or get involved in urban beekeeping, where if they got super excited by what they heard from you all today, where should they go? What should they learn? What should they try? And Trent, I'll start with you.
So my suggestion, my piece of advice that I give anybody and everybody that is interested in keeping bees, or even just being around it more often is go to Google and search Beekeeper Association near me, because there's usually one in your city, in your county, or in your region. More often than not, there's some for all three. Like, I'm a part of 6 or 7 beekeeper associations across Northern Ohio. So that is my go-to piece of advice, is do a little research and see if there's a beekeeper association near you.
We definitely got some thumbs up on that one. I think the whole group said find other beekeepers. Adebayo, do you have any advice for folks who want to get started?
Yes, in addition to what Trent just said, which is very much, I like it, is it's not just enough to have information. Get some basic training. It's just important that you cannot just say, I want to do it just because everybody is doing it. No matter how short, it's just good to have some basic training about it. That was what worked for me. If not, then it removed the fears, the various aspects of fears that could have been associated with it were removed because of just the basic training. The second thing is develop passion. When you begin to believe that you like it, you just like it, then the will be there for you to want to learn a little bit, and then you want to take a little step forward. Just like Trent said, the first is find out information. Either Google, look for the association nearby. There will always be a beekeepers association around, and then learn to be trained a little bit, no matter how short, about how to be a good beekeeper. Thank you.
Thank you. Marushka, you have anything you want to add advice? We're building a list here. This is good. Go ahead.
I would also like to, all those that Trent already said, and Adebayo as well. I would also say that, of course, if you decide to be a beekeeper, and especially in the city, be a friendly beekeeper, that means that you are the one that doesn't take everything from the bees. So take it, sell it, have it for your income, definitely. But of course, have it as well for the bees, because then you will have the healthy bees, as we know. And it is also important that we are not afraid of fear itself. So we have to always just cross this fear factor, and with talk, with the presentations, with administration, with these presentations, then you will have the opportunity also to learn about the bees, and at the end you will be able to touch them, you will be able to feel how fantastic they are. And it is so sweet when always the beekeepers say, because I'm involved in this beekeeping for years now, they say, do you already have bees? And they say, no, because you have to have time for bees. If you don't have time, then don't do it. Gorest is the perfect example for this. He has time, he finds time, and yeah, this is it. This is from my side.
Goraz, do you want to close us out with your advice? It sounds like making time for sure. This is not something you can put in a hive and walk away from, but what else would you add to that list?
Well, I always say to the beginners, just don't do it. And if they stay, then they are the right ones for beekeeping. Because you know you have so many opportunities to just be near the bees, to visit a beekeeper nearby, and you have to think about the responsibility you have towards a living creature, and towards the neighbors, especially in the cities, and towards the time. And I mean, there are a lot of investments involved as well. Nobody told me, unfortunately, before about this before I started. And yeah, just bees take a lot of responsibility, and but I like it, and I took it on, and I'm aware of it, and it gives me a great opportunity to meet a bunch of nice and interesting people like yourself at this panel.
Well, thank you all for your time today. We're so grateful to our panelists for sharing their expertise, as well as our audience members for joining us today. Oh, and Maruska just put a link in the website or in the chat. Thank you so much for that. And just a final thank you to our sponsors, Swagelok, Medical Mutual, Platform Brewery, Irish, The Lynx Inc., Corner 65, US Together, and 12 Literary Arts, as well as the Cleveland Public Library. We look forward to coming together again the week of October 17th for our 2022 Sister Cities Conference. Until then, stay well, and thank you for being with us today. I really enjoyed being with you all this morning from all over the world. What an amazing discussion. Thank you all, and I hope you have a good rest of your day. Thank you very much.
Thank
you very
you.
much.
It was a pleasure. Have a fantastic day. Ciao, ciao.
Talk to you all soon. Be well.
Be well.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. Yeah.
Bye bye.